to Myers Metal Detectors, located in sunny Tampa, Florida, where we sell nothing but fun and adventures, treasure hunting gear, and anything you can imagine for metal detecting. Give us a call, 813-237-1939. Happy hunting and dig deeper.
Live from sunny Florida, it's Treasure Talk.
And of course, Phil is not in place. I don't know where he's at. And I think we lost everybody. There he is.
I didn't hear the commercial start.
Yeah, I don't know. I figured you just pressed another button. You know?
I didn't hear the live feed start. I actually got a call from somebody who had wanted to rent a detector. Called the most inopportune time, but because they had lost a piece of jewelry, and I sent them to one of the metal detector clubs to hopefully they'll be able to help them out and find it for them.
Well, I'm sure they will. There's most of them are pretty good about doing that kind of thing.
Yes, for sure.
You know? So, what'd you do today, buddy?
And what did I do today? I did a little work around the house, and I did a little work outside in the yard. I didn't get to go detecting today, but got a lot of stuff done for sure. And I guess I need to get started, huh?
Yeah, you do, because we got a little bit to cover before I bring our guests on.
Yes. Well, first, let me remind folks that we're streaming. I got us on the Facebook page, and Jeff's got us on YouTube. I got us on Myers on Treasure Talk Facebook and Florida Metal Detector Group. So if you have any questions, be sure to ask them, type them in. Jeff and Jocelyn will hopefully be able to see them. I can't see them on my end, but Jocelyn's got a pretty good eye, and she'll help us out for sure there. And I did want to say happy tax day, because I think tomorrow's the tax deadline that you got to get your federal income taxes in.
I don't have to worry about that. Mine been done.
Well, sweet. I think I just did mine today, so I'm ahead of the game a little bit. But let's just remind folks, today's show is brought to you by your friends at Myers Metal Detectors, where we sell fun and adventure. And of course, the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed here by the Treasure Talk guest and member belong solely to the guest and member, and not necessarily to Phil Myers, Jocelyn Myers, Myers Metal Detectors, or Jeff Monin.
Yes.
And the most important thing is our purpose, and that is to promote the hobby of metal detecting and treasure hunting, and to educate our members in a fun, informative manner. And we're going to do just that, aren't we, Jeff?
Yes, we are indeed. Yes, indeed, we are. So.
And you just got back from the East Coast.
Treasure Coast.
Yes, the Treasure Coast.
I think most of our viewers right now were tuned in Thursday night for the epic show.
Yes, that was awesome.
All the people from the Treasure Coast. Unfortunately, we had Jimmy Crossbones couldn't make it. His wife contracted COVID, and Mark Littleton was very ill with the flu. So we persevered with what we had. We ended up with good weather, detect on the beach. And I do have a story, and you got a little item right there that we need to recommend for everybody in the world that has a Deus 2 detector. And that is the Dan's Lanyard. And I will tell you right now.
Jeff, before you get started on that, I got to go do some technical work with Jocelyn's computer. So I'll be out of the picture for a half a second.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll time you. Anyways, we're at the beach, and I'm just kind of walking into the surf, and the waves just suck the sand right out from underneath my feet. So I go to steady myself with my detector shaft. It snaps right at the handle. So down I go, and the waves are still a crashing as it does on the East Coast. Now my detector, my coil, the rest of the shaft, and my control pod are attached. I've just got the handle in my hand. It's going out to sea. So I figure there's $1,500 right out to sea. And then all of a sudden I can't see it anymore. So I finally get up and holding the handle in my hand, and another young guy, thank God for young guys, he saw it out there, probably about 15, 20 yards, and he jumped in, went out there and retrieved it and come back in, and it was hanging like this. If you see that. Now, had I not had this little unit right here for the Deus 2, it's a Dan's lanyards. He made it at my request. Phil does stock them. If I would not have had that, I would have lost everything. So you don't even, it's not even just for ocean hunters in the woods or whatever, because this control pod can pop off at any time. You know, if you're hunting in the woods, you can trip over something, fall, but pop it off, and there's $800-900 right there. So do yourself a big favor. If you've got a Deus 2, you call Phil, 813-237-1939. Get yourself a Dan's lanyard for the Deus 2. It's only going to be about 18, 20 bucks. But I tell you what, I'd rather spend 18 or 20 bucks rather than have to buy a new control panel. So there's the moral of that story. Protect yourself. Get
Absolutely.
a Dan's lanyard. And the same thing goes for and get two of them. Get one for your pinpointer as well.
Yes, excellent idea. And if they order those, I'll throw in one of our famous Treasure Talk towels.
Oh, the coveted towel?
Yeah, I'll throw in the towel with it when I ship it. And this picture here, I'm just showing what you can do with it. If you get fortunate enough to go to England, Gary Gross had decorated his with all of his finds. And I thought that was a really cool thing to do.
See, that's a coveted item right there. Let me tell you. That's coveted.
Sure.
So do yourself a favor. If you've got a Deus 2, or even if you're still running the Deus 1,
yeah, I was going to say,
get yourself a Dan's lanyard. Get one for your machine. Get one for your pinpointer. These things are too valuable to lose them. And I'm going to tell you what, it can happen in a heartbeat.
Yes, it can. And it can happen. I've done it too, digging in the dirt with mine, and my hands are big, and I knock knock it off the shaft real easy. So
that's right. And Rick T was down there with us, and guess what? His comment is, it saved your fanny this weekend, and it certainly did.
Yes.
So we were hunting on the beach. If you go to our Facebook page, you'll see some of the pictures. We were hunting Terry Shannon and Fred Banky. We were hunting with them on the beach, and I made sure that I gave one to Terry Shannon because he's swinging his Deus 2. So we had a really good time. We had good weather, good fellowship, and a lot of stories. So we had a real good time. Go check it out. It's probably about a 2-hour and 10-minute show from last Thursday night. And just a lot of treasure stories with Terry and Fred. Captain Fizz was there. Sid and KT Jones from the Etosha. So treasure stories abounding.
And I just pulled us up on Facebook because for some reason my other computer that Jocelyn's on, it won't pull the Treasure Talk show up on Facebook.
You better get a new computer, dude.
No, it's a good computer. I can't for the life of me figuring that out. That's why I was a little late jumping on the show. But hey, I can see the Facebook, so it is there, just not showing up on her computer.
Yeah, I see it. I mean, I see the Facebook comments. So
okay, good. At least we're out there streaming everywhere so everybody can see it. But yes, Jeff, that was an epic show you had. That was awesome.
It was fun. And everybody had a lot of good fun. Rick Tumbleson said he is watching on YouTube because he is in Facebook jail.
I am not, what you got to do to be in Facebook jail.
Nothing much, especially for Rick, you know.
At the West State Archaeological Society meeting is tomorrow night. So I asked him what he did to be in Facebook jail.
Well, anybody in the Tampa area, if you were looking for a killer group to join, a metal detecting club, West State Archaeological Society is killer. And tell them where it's going to be.
And it's in Tampa. It's on Central Avenue. I don't know the address right off the top of my head, but it's just south of Fletcher on Central. You can't miss it. It's in the Coincopia building, and Richard Schmitz owns that building. He has a couple businesses in there, and one of them is Coincopia, which is actually a coin store. So if you have coin questions, that's a perfect time to ask an expert. Come in there and see the treasure hunting group, and Richard's normally there too because he is an avid treasure hunter.
Yeah.
And he can answer your coin questions too, for sure.
Right. So, like, now remember, y'all, if you got any questions, just pop them up in the chat and we'll make sure that they get answered by our guests. And I think we probably better get our heinies in gear and bring our guests on.
Yes, for sure.
Now, you have seen them before. I'm sure that you have listened to their podcast on Relics Radio in Adventures in Dirt. We have Ken King and his sidekick, the Chick Magnet 5280 Adventures. So let's go ahead and bring them on. Here is Ken, and here is the Chick Magnet. And we just got he's going incognito. There he is. He's getting into frame now.
Welcome, guys. Welcome.
Hey, I apologize. My computer is not doing well right now, so I'm gonna have to just come in on my phone.
Whatever, it works. You're looking good. You get some chick was messing with your computer, eh?
Yeah. That's what happens when they get loose.
What's up, Phil, Jeff? How you doing? What's going on, Chick Magnet? Shoot.
Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good. So for those out there who don't know you guys and what you do, go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us about your podcast that Phil and I have been lucky enough to be guests on, and tell them a little bit about y'all.
Cool. Go ahead, Tony.
I'm Tony Frangiola. I've got a YouTube channel called 5280 Adventures, and lucky enough to join up with my buddy Ken there on Relics Radio. We do a weekly podcast every Thursday night, every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, and we talk about the treasure hunting community just like you guys do. We talk about metal detecting, treasure hunting, bottle digging, really anything we can get our hands into. And I mean, personally, I do all of that stuff. I'm out looking for treasure every chance I can get. So
yeah, and I'm Ken. A lot of people refer to me as DK on my YouTube channel, Adventures in Dirt. Same thing, you know. Tony and I met each other right when we first started getting into metal detecting. Tony and I got hooked up on a metal detecting forum. Found out we were both in Colorado, and so have become like digging buddies ever since. And so he's my partner in dirt. We go out and we hit it pretty hard. And then, we've been doing the podcast now for quite a while. You know, Relics Radio podcast has been on the air for about 6 years now. And it's one of the longer running podcasts on metal detecting and relic hunting. And we're having a good time with that. We go live Thursday night, like Tony said. And then we just had an opportunity to go to England together. So we've done a lot of digging together, a lot of traveling together, and now we've conquered England. So, but yeah, you can find me anywhere on social media at Adventures in Dirt. I've got all of them rolled. Who would have thought I was 52? Actually, I'm 55 now, and have all this social media going on, TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff. It's pretty crazy.
It is.
Yeah, well, TikTok is another thing. It's something that I try to steer away from TikTok, but you mentioned you guys been on for 6 years. We've been on the air for 3. It doesn't seem like it.
Right.
It goes really fast. For sure.
3 years, yeah. So you guys was in Colchester, eh?
yeah, we went to Colchester for a week. We spent 7 days digging, about 10 hours a day out in near Colchester. And I tell you what, that will ruin you as a detectorist. You come from, like for us, Colorado, you know, 1850s at the earliest, and you go out there to dig in England, and, you know, we're picking up things that are 500 to 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 years old. Man, what an experience for us to be able to go out there. It was amazing.
Yeah. Did you guys go over with a group, or who did you guys go with?
Yeah, we did. We went with the Colchester group. There's a Colchester club called the Colchester Treasure Hunting Club, and they do like holidays in England over there. And there's some organizers here in the States that organize trips over there. We went with a gentleman named Buddy Webb, who has a website called Georgia Buddy. And yeah, I know Gary's over there right now with Chicago Ron. So there's a few different people here in the States that organize trips over to England. And this is my second trip with these guys, with Georgia Buddy and the Colchester group. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, you know, it costs some money, but it's fairly reasonable for what you get and where you go.
Oh yeah, it's a great trip. I mean, we went over there with history hunts. A friend of mine, the Mumbles man, we went over there with history hunts, and we were in Colchester, the same areas that Chicago Ron is. So yeah, it's great. If you would, Ken, please get me the contact information for Georgia Buddy.
Sure. Yeah, it's just georgiabuddy.com. The state, Georgia Buddy. You know, when you go over there, they put you in the club, and when they give you like a little handle name to use on the forums, and it's always the state you're from and the first name, you know. So I'm like Colorado Ken, there's Colorado Tony right there. And so Georgia Buddy, yeah, that's BUDD, Georgia BUDDY.
Okay.
.com.
I have to look him up. Yeah, it's great over there. I understand you had a little bit of rain.
It rains over in England? I had no idea.
In the springtime, it does a lot.
Yeah, we were walking around for 7 days with about 15 pounds of mud on our boots.
Yeah. Which makes it a lot tougher.
For, I think, 10 or 11 days. And we only had 1 day of rain. We went in the September. So it was great.
Yeah, I think the next time we head over, that'll probably be in the fall. Ken's done two times in the spring. I've done the one time in the spring. Change it up a little bit, but I think the weather's a little bit better over time in the fall.
Yeah. We had better weather this time than 2020 when I went last time. The last time it was we got hit hard with all the hail and snow and driving winds and really cold rain, really cold conditions. But this time it wasn't too bad. I mean, we were prepared for it. We had 1 day of really strong wind and a little bit of rain, and it was just like 50-mile-an-hour gusts with 40-mile-an-hour sustained, and it was pretty tough, but you know, better than snow and sleet and everything else. But and then rain off and on here and there, you know, day in, day out. But we were ready for it.
They just have another fight. You know,
if you're prepared for it, you know, you could just go into it expecting that it's gonna be a little wet. You know, you go into it and you know you're fine.
Heck yeah. I mean, just have another pint, you know?
So what was your best find for this trip?
Ooh.
The camaraderie and friendship of the gentleman.
I know you guys found some good
we
stuff,
have to say that, don't we? No, we found some good stuff.
No,
we didn't find the gold, though, did we, Tom? We didn't.
No,
find the gold.
we didn't find gold. But between the two of us, only one person. We went with technically 14 diggers, 12 of us out, as detectorists, and then our two sponsors were out with us, Georgia Buddy and Jimbo. But only one person found a gold coin. Another digger found a gold. What was it? It was a watch winder. Beautiful watch winder.
Yeah.
But no gold it was pretty scarce this trip. I've heard of, last time, Ken, when you went, how many people found gold? Or how many pieces?
Well, there was 9 pieces of gold between the 14 people that were there. 9 pieces of gold were pulled in 2020. It was definitely an anomaly for sure, but you know, that's the thing though, guys. That's the thing with England, right? I saw some people in the chat were talking about, bucket list trip. And I agree. It definitely is something you should put on your bucket list and try and get out there and do, because any beep, any swing, any target could be gold. It could be modern gold, 1800s gold, all the way back to medieval gold, to Celtic period gold, or Iceni tribe gold. It could be, Viking, it could be Roman, it could be anything.
It could be Saxon.
Yeah.
And plus, when we were there, one of the guy's wife pulled up a Bronze Age axe head, part of one, and it just looked like a little rock to me, but it was a Bronze Age axe head. So the stuff is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then the Roman, all the old Roman, the Roman silver denarii and all that kind of stuff. If you get on the Roman side, it's you never know what you're going to find.
Right. And Colchester used to be a Roman settlement. That's what was there
Yeah.
before Colchester was Colchester. As a matter of fact, Colchester is the first recorded town or in history of Britain. It's the first recorded town of Britain, Colchester. And before that, it was a Roman settlement. And before that, it was like Iceni tribe. Boudica, a lot of you are familiar with Boudica. She ruled that area. So a lot of history, you know what I mean? It just boggles the mind.
It's you just walk in the field, you're tripping over history. It's absolutely amazing.
You see this question here, Philip?
Yeah.
Yes, and Jocelyn just said to say hello to Digging Canuck. So.
Hey, yeah. What's up, Liz?
Hey, Liz.
Good to see you.
And then it looks like there's a Facebook question. What type metal detectors are you guys using? That's a good question. I should have asked that.
Very good.
I use divining rods. I don't use a detector. I just swing a couple of divining rods. And
blindfold and the
that's it. So accurate. You have no idea. Go ahead, Tony. Take that one.
I actually I just got the Manicore a week before we went to England. Took it out for about 4 hours before we left, and so got to England with a brand new machine. Had never used a Minelab, never used the Manicore before. I used that for 7 days at 8 to 10 hours a day. Really learning, kind of trial by fire, throwing you in the ocean, learning how to swim kind of deal. But I used that, and then I took my backup was the Garrett Ace Apex, which I never even had to pull out, which is a good thing. So,
yeah, and I took the Nocta Legend with me, which is like Tony. I'd just gotten it for Christmas. My wife bought me it for Christmas, and in Colorado, we're both in Colorado, and we've had nothing but frozen ground and freezing temperatures. So I didn't really have much time to get that out and swing it. I think I'd only had it out twice, but very little hours. So Tony and I were in the same boat, brand new detectors in England. But the thing is you're going to dig everything in England anyways. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're not going to discern, oh, is that a good target? Is that a bad target? It's a target. It repeats on you. You're going to dig it. Even if it doesn't, you're probably going to dig it because there's not a lot of trash in England. At least the hunt fields.
You didn't dig any buttons, did you?
No. I don't know what you're talking about.
Button? What's the button? My God.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he's making a joke about it because you dig an incredible amount of buttons. They were out there running around naked or something like that because there's buttons everywhere.
They couldn't hold up their clothes. There's no buttons.
The history behind that is what they used to do, but especially back in the medieval times when the plague was there, they would just take everybody, all the dead people out into the fields and burn them. So there's all the buttons, and they would take trash and stuff like that out in the fields and burn it. So there you get with all the buttons. Yeah.
Yeah,
we got our share of buttons.
Anyway.
So you three guys have been there. Did you dig a bunch of modern trash and pull tabs, stuff like that?
No.
Not in the fields that we were in.
Not at all.
No, not in the fields I was in. I mean, you get some trash, you get some pieces of aluminum, and you get there is some trash, but not a lot because you don't really want to throw anything away because you don't know what it's going to be.
The biggest trash.
Modern trash.
We didn't find it hardly any modern trash. The trash we found was lead, scrap lead, like just melted lead, and then anti-aircraft flak.
Yeah.
So you find some of that.
And that sounds great.
Yeah, sure does. Sounds brilliant. And when you pull it up, it's got striations on it. It does look like the side of a Pal Stave axe head. So you're like, oh no, it's flak. Anti-aircraft flak. So, but other than that, no, really, I don't think. I think I dug one can, and I should have known better. It was really almost just under the ground, and it was way too loud. But it could have been an axe head because things aren't necessarily deep there, to be honest with you.
Right.
The plows turn them up.
You say you should have known better, but here's the thing. You go in those fields, and if they just been plowed, that's how they turn stuff up. There was a lot of stuff we found that was just under the surface.
Absolutely.
And it works its way up because of the continual plowing of the fields. So you can't really say you should have known better because it would have been bad on you if you didn't dig it.
That's right.
Yeah,
I was
dig it
always
all,
gonna
I
dig it.
tell you.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
dig it all.
Yeah. What, 4 to 5 inches, Tony? Max depth for
Yeah,
most
max
things we
depth.
found?
I mean, occasionally there was
Some deeper stuff that I was just trying to learn my machine on, but yeah, 4 inches down, and and the difference in the soil. We got there, and the first time I put my shovel in, it went. I mean, again, we're coming from Colorado, where it's still frozen by the time that we went out there. I put it in there and pressed down as hard as I could because I figured I needed to go, through the soil. It sunk in so fast I couldn't believe it. It was like butter.
It was like butter.
Flipped it up. Nice big clod comes out. The button is right there, and kind of kick it back over and you move on. It was absolutely some of the best digging I've ever experienced.
Now, were you guys in plowed fields or in pasture?
Both.
both.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to have a couple.
Well, the plowed fields were just absolutely amazing. But a couple pastures that hadn't been plowed over yet. But
Yeah, kind of both digging.
Yeah.
Both two kinds of digging.
But that's just it. I mean, it was nice. It was so wet, in the springtime, it's so wet. The ground's just so nice to dig in, but which we're real thankful for. So if there's any benefit to spring digging, it's the condition of the soil, because you're going to dig hundreds of targets a day. And,
you should be.
Yeah. And
You
to
better
do
be.
that, you need some nice ground to cooperate with you. If that was hard, that would have been even, very
It
difficult.
was,
So.
Now, I saw, Jeff, you had a question up from Tom Becker, and he was asking about the fines. Are your fines still there in England, or they come back with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to leave them.
We had to leave. It's just the way the laws work over there, and everything kind of gets sifted through to readily identifiable objects. The gurus over there, they kind of know right away what it is, but everything's kind of collected up at the end of the week and passed on. Ken has a little bit more details of exactly how that happens.
Yeah.
But we had to leave everything there.
I only brought one thing back, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But yeah, so the way this works, at least, well, the way it officially works is you have to any kind of precious metal, any kind of like gold coin like that, or even anything 300 years or older that's precious metal, not a coin, you have to submit to the fines liaison officer. Everything else is left there also, and it is applied for an export license. And the process of applying for an export license, because you can't just take it back on the plane with you. You have to apply for an export license. That takes time. So you leave your items with the guy there, and he then takes the bag of your stuff. He has all your information, your name, everything on it, and he applies for an export license. And that export license, part of the process is he has to identify every item in your bag in writing with pictures. And then that gets put into the export license. And when he gets the export license, then he contacts you and says, hey, do you want it back? I can mail it to you for this amount of money. And you pay it and get it back, along with these sheets telling you what everything in your bag is, which is kind of cool. Or if you're going to come back out and see us again, I'll just hold on to it and you can pick it up next time you're out. You have the export license. Now you can take it on the plane because you have your export license. So that's the way that works. And to comply with his desire that that's the way it should work, and to keep everyone honest and good, and so that his reputation doesn't get harmed, that's the way we do it. So yeah. Tom's right. You leave everything there, you're going to get it back 5 to 6 months later, unless you have something classified as treasure that gets reported as treasure. Then there's a whole nother process of valuation, deciding if the museums want it. That's a much longer process that you're going to go through. Yeah.
But it's a very fair process, I think.
Yes.
What a lot of people don't realize is, you could find a hoard, and a hoard can be just like 2 gold coins of the same type can be considered a hoard, or an artifact that you have to turn over to the museum, but they have to, if they want it, they have to offer you fair market price for it. When you split it with the landowner, which is there, then it's only fair, because that's how things are done over there. So if it's get lucky and find something that's worth £1 million, and they end up buying it for £1 million, I mean, you got 500,000 pounds. So
right,
buys a lot of
not a bad day's work.
Yeah, there's
You
a
know?
gentleman out of Illinois Tim, right?
Yeah.
Ill
Yeah.
Digger. He found an amazing item. He found a what they're considering now, after they've done some research, a Viking gold ingot, just a chunk of gold.
Ingot of gold.
And they, they're still doing the valuation. To do the valuation, once they've gotten to that spot, gone to that place, and they've decided they want it, maybe multiple museums want it, there needs to be a valuation done. They convene a group of 5 or 6 different people, historians, and antiquities people, all kinds of people that have their input on trying to value that. And all my friends in the UK, they do tell me that they do a pretty fair job of it. Like I don't hear too many complaints from all my friends in the UK that say, oh, they rip you off and that's terrible. They treat it pretty fairly. They give you a pretty fair. Plus, then your name's also always associated with it, which is pretty.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, they put it right. If your item goes in the museum, your name is on it.
Right.
Amazing.
In the museum. So yeah, it's a very fair way. I mean, bottom line is you're not going to have an opportunity over here to find something like that.
Right.
So that's the thing. Sometimes with Americans, they want to go over there and they want everybody to do it the American way, and that's not the way it's done. You going over there, you're going to do it the British way.
Yeah.
You're in their country.
They take it pretty seriously, right, Tony? Like we've heard stories of people trying to get away with stuff and being stopped at the border and at the airport and stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's a serious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
You see that question, Phil?
Yeah, I just have to comment. I have to say hats off to both of you for taking new detectors to go do the England trip. That's pretty gutsy for doing that. But I know the Legend and the Manticore are both excellent detectors.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we couldn't have gone wrong
For sure. But really, the blind leading the blind over there, both of us kind of walking around in circles, But really, you go into England with any detector, and like Ken said, if it's a repeatable signal or even a questionable signal, you're going to dig it. I mean, you're over here in America and you're like, oh, it's cracking on the back end or whatever, it's a bottle cap, right? And you're going to dig 15,000 of them in a park. You're over there in those fields. It's questionable. You're digging, something from the 1500s.
right.
You don't even know what the heck it is,
But it's certainly old. It's not trash per se. So I know personally, and Ken as well, we both, trial by fire, we learned a lot about the detectors. And I think it was really beneficial for us to do that in that way right away, to get so many hours on it right out of the start.
Oh, sure. And who in their right mind wouldn't enjoy digging a bottle topper from 1500?
Well,
I can understand that too.
right.
Okay. Well, it looks like we got a question from Liz, and she's asking, what did you think of the British food?
Yeah.
I don't think I ate it.
I just drank pints over there the whole time. So.
A liquid
Drink
diet.
pints and eat Cadbury chocolate.
Lots of hops and barley. Yeah. It wasn't bad. A lot of people, talk about the food. I know Tony and I just did a presentation to our treasure huntings club here in Denver, Eureka Treasure Hunters Club. And we talked about the food because everyone always asks about that. And, we didn't have an issue with it. I'd been there before, so I kind of knew what to expect, but every place we ate was great, right? Like breakfast was full English breakfasts, and, we ate everything except for the beans. We told them to hold the beans because for some reason they put beans on their breakfast. But, and of course, they knew right away we were Americans because they were like, hold the beans.
Hold
Americans,
the beans.
Americans.
You had that blood
For
pudding.
breakfast.
Yeah. They had a lot of stuff like that we just didn't touch because, we know about it. We weren't going to be fooled
there.
but it was okay. Yeah. We were out in the country. So Tony and I did 2 days in London to do the touristy stuff before we went on our detecting excursion. So we saw all the sites in London. I tell people all the time, I was 4,000 steps shy of 100,000 steps for the week, for the time we were there. And I'm no joke. It was just serious. And when you're not used to walking I'm not. When you're not used to walking 17,000 steps, when you basically do about 1,000 in a day, if you're lucky, that was a big difference, big change. But
We had to get in shape for the dig. Yeah.
pretty much, it knocked our jet lag off,
yeah.
and also got us in pretty good physical shape, ready for what we
Yeah.
were about to do in the field. So,
Well, this is a good question here, Philip. Why don't you take that one?
Yeah, I see that. That's from Ricky T. And he's asking, describe the process of your securely packed and how you got your equipment overseas.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. Everybody asks that. We both packed our against better judgment. You always hear you don't want to pack your valuables, in the check bags. So for us, it'd be me taking our metal detectors onto the plane in our carry-on. We both ended up having. I mean, you can only have up to 50 pounds. Saying we were gone for I think 11 days. So it was really difficult to get a checked bag at that 50 or under the 50 pounds. And then we could only take a small carry-on on board. So we couldn't fit our machines in our carry-ons, unfortunately. So we just packed them inside of our check bags. And for myself personally, I packed kind of both sides of my suitcase. I had my rain gear, so that was kind of fluffy a little bit. I had my clothes on the other side, and then just securely kind of packed everything else in the middle and sandwiched it together. So I kind of had a little bit of a cushion on both sides. I'm not saying that's the best way to do it. I would have preferred to take them, on board with me. So I know that number one, it's going to get there. Number two, it's secured, safe, and not going to be broken. But for the amount of time that we were going, that's what we ended up having to do there.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I just broke my detectors down, and all I did is I put the rods like close to the center of both sides of the suitcase. I think I took the Simplex and the Legend, so I kind of put them back to back to where the heads were opposing each other, and packed hoodies and everything around them, and then the coils. I just made sure the ears went down in between a void space, and kind of put some more softer stuff around that with the bottom of the coil cover facing up. And then when I shut and then put a bunch of more hoodies on top of it. So when I collapsed it, they were sort of suspended in the middle of my suitcase with a lot of packing around it as much as I could.
Yeah.
Because we weren't going to bring shovels or anything like that. They provide shovels for you over there. So, but all the headphones and everything, I had a lot of gear. Like, what was good is that when you go detect, you really you wear a lot of the same clothes throughout the week. I know people are like, oh my gosh, but
over there.
Yeah, they sure do. And you can wash things up, but you do find yourself sort of kind of like existing in digging clothes for most of the week and washing them as you need them. You're going to be wearing rain gear, and it's going to keep most of the stuff off you. So,
by the time you get home at night, all you want to do is you need to clean your finds, grab something to eat, and go to bed.
Yep.
That's exactly what we did, right?
Sums it up.
That sums it up. Absolutely.
You're dead, dragon tired for sure.
Yeah.
So you just.
But can't wait to do it the next day.
Oh yeah.
Well, the next time, guys, just a little tip. When we went, I had my XP Deus backpack, and I had both detectors and coils and everything in that, and it fit right in the compartment. I carried it on. I know Nocta makes, for you, Ken, Nocta makes a killer backpack as well. Yeah. And, you could get a Nocta backpack, Tony, or you could get a XP Deus backpack, and you can get your detector and coils and stuff in there.
Sure.
And it'll fit in the overhead compartment. I just never have. I can't trust the airline people,
I know. I agree.
Yeah, you guys got a fellow over there in Florida named Mitch King, and Mitch King came to our Rush to the Rockies event, which we're having this year, July 7th through the 9th, right here in Colorado. Rush to the Rockies, the Stampede. We're doing it again, another metal detecting event, 3 days, 5 hunts, kids hunt, all kinds of stuff. So just check out Rush to the Rockies on Google. You should be able to find it, or Eureka Treasure Hunters Club, Rush to the Rockies. But anyways, he came out to attend our event, and he brought 3 detectors and lost all 3 of them to the airlines. And he had to go down to it was like Sportsman's Warehouse or something, and he bought a Vanquish 540 or something like that. And he still crushed with it. That guy is so good. He really cleaned house, but he finally got his detectors back, but only after he returned to Florida. So
yeah.
You got to be careful,
So when is this rush for the Rockies?
It's July 7th through the 9th this year, right here in Colorado.
Phil, you may be going out there to visit a grandson.
Yes,
Mm.
yes.
You may have to turn up at that.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably end up doing that. You know that.
That sounds great.
That would be
We'd love
perfect.
to have you.
We'd love to have you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks
the
like
next time before you guys go, it's what I found was the shovels over there were a little less than desirable. So what you need to do is you need to Phil handles them. Get the Merlin. It breaks down. It fits right in your backpack. Then you got the best shovel going to take over there.
Yep.
yeah, for sure. And it looks like we got a question. How much planning does it take and research? I guess that's from a Facebook user. So I guess
Yes,
he's
it
talking
is.
about the England trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For us, because we went
With a group, this metal detecting holiday, Colchester, metal detecting, whatever. They do all of the planning and research for us. So they actually have a set number of fields and farmers that they work with, and they secure all these permissions for us. So it's not something that we have to do beforehand. We just end up getting on the van. They decide which field they want to take us to that day. We'll get out. They show us a map of what fields the farmer actually owns, what we have permission on. And then you can go anywhere in those fields, and we hunt half days. So the first half of the day we'll be able to on a certain site. We'll hunt that. We'll come back for lunch at the vans and then determine if we want to stay at that same site or if we want to go to another permission that we would have. And then the landowners actually get paid per half day per head of hunter. So if you've got 14 hunters at say $40 a piece or something, if you hunt the half a day, then your group that you've booked this through, they would take care of that financial obligation to the farmers. We just show up and dig and find all the good stuff.
Yeah, and they're also able to tell you that over the years. I mean, if you go check out Colchester Treasure Hunters Club on Google, you're going to see a museum of a website that is second to none. And you'll be drooling the entire time you're looking at that website because they have years and years and years and years of finding stuff, and they have it all photo documented. And so they're able to tell you, like on this field, they found over the years, they've found a lot of gold and some hammers back in that corner. And then they've found a lot of Roman on this field and a lot of hammers on this field. And people always ask the question, well, aren't they ever hunted out? The answer is absolutely not. There's thousands of years of history in that ground, and they're constantly plowing, and they plow and till really deep for potatoes and stuff like that. So they're constantly bringing new stuff up to the ground. And your little coil is not going to cover everything for sure. And they just can year after year after year just continue to bring up the most amazing things. And you just have so many fields to choose from. Like I think this one, and every day you go to a new site, and every site, like one site we had 12 fields, 12 400-acre fields to choose from. Well, how do you choose? You basically just start walking. And I was like a mile and a half away one time, not another person in sight. Had my walkie-talkie with me, and I was just out there having a blast. I hit a hot spot and started finding cool stuff, and it was just a blast.
Yeah, well, I'll say on day one we hit a field, and we spent the morning and afternoon at the same exact field because we were finding hammers, we were finding silvers, we were finding lots and lots of items at this one particular field. So we legitimately hunted about 8.5 to 9 hours at the one field on day one. I think on day 5 or day 6, we went back to that same area to hunt another half a day there. And after hunting that full amount of full day, the first day, one of the hunters walked into the field about 20 feet away from the van and found a Roman silver coin right there after we had pounded it on day one. So, I mean, you talk about never, it rejuvenating itself through the plows. It also just is still sitting there, even if you've had 14 hunters out there for 9 hours.
Heck yeah.
Interesting. So, Ken, what coil were you using on your Legend?
Say again?
What coil were you using on the Legend? The stock coil?
Yeah, stock coil. The 28. I did bring the little puck with me, the little one, a little circle one. I haven't bought the LG 24 or anything, or the 35 or anything. And I had the stock coil on both that and the Simplex, and it worked just fine. Again, it's not trashy pit, so you're not needing a sniper coil or anything like that. I never did bring it out, never did put it on. No need for it. Probably could have got away with the larger one, the LG 35, but yeah, it was just fine. I was, like I said, it was going to be a learning the machine trip and enjoying finding stuff. And, that machine was definitely capable of it and had a blast. Yeah, the only thing I didn't really know how to work was the headphones so well. Yeah, rookie mistake.
It happens.
Yeah,
It does. Well, you could use. So what? If they weren't pairing or what?
So Tony and I are in the field on our first day. We're out there, and as I'm walking around, as I'm swinging, I'm detecting, I'm hearing things fine. I'm listening, but in my head, I'm thinking, man, this thing is just not loud enough. It's just not loud enough. Like, it's okay, but man, my T2 blows this thing away with the volume. I look at my settings, everything's up all the way, and Tony's passing me, and I can almost hear his Manicore beeping in through my headphones from his headphones. So I said, hey, do me a favor here, listen to this. And I had him put on my headphones and swing the detector over a target. And he's like, whoa, something's wrong. And I go, I know, man. And let me see yours. And I put his on, and it was like, bang, 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 bang. Like, it was just blowing my head off. And so I was like, man, what's going on? So we're looking at the headphones, and I'm looking for a switch or a volume up, and there's just not one on it. And I'm looking at my settings. I go, I don't know, man. If this is the way it's going to be, I don't know if I like this. And then Tony, 55 years old, my eyes aren't what they used to be. So Tony looks on the side of my headphones, and he sees this like clear laminated sticker on there that on the side of the kind of cuff, it says push up for volume up. And so I pushed his button, and I was like, oh, there you go.
Then it blew his ears out after that.
He had the machine all the way up on volume, but the headphones all the way down.
Yeah. It was crazy, for sure. Don't read
Brandon,
the instructions. Typical guy, don't read the instructions.
Don't read the instructions. Or you have to carry a set of plug-in headphones that you can just hardwire it into it.
Right.
There you go.
Right. But after that, it was smooth sailing, man. After that, I loved it. No complaints at all.
Well,
Really
it
got
looks
to love that machine.
It looks like Jeff's getting ready to do the drawing. So, you ready to do that, Jeff?
Yeah, I am. So while I'm telling them about it, why don't you show them what they're going to get?
I'm going to get that.
As always, you have to be a member of Treasure Talk YouTube. Very easy to do. If you're not, you just hit the subscribe button, then send an and when hit that little bell, when the drop-down box comes, ask for all notifications. Then you send an email to treasuretalkshow@gmail.com. Let me know you did. Then you enter the phrase in the video that I put up for the giveaways. And this week, what you had to enter was Myers metal detectors #1 for a reason, because we're giving away a Myers swag pack tonight. And Phil, it's one of the coveted towels for sure. Always get a coveted towel. You still got any calendars, dude?
Yeah, I've got a few left, and so I can send them a calendar too.
And one of the best t-shirts going.
And then this book.
That is a coin book.
Yes, it is. It's the Liberty Seated Silver Coin Guide of the Red Book, official Red Book, Guidebook of Liberty Seated Silver Coins. That's a cool one. It's a nice thick one too.
Yeah,
You guys, hold on. I got to go create a fake account real quick so I can get on in this. Just hold on a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay. All righty. So what you had to do is you had to enter with the phrase on the live video that I posted. There's Myers metal detectors #1 for a reason, and they is because you got the best price, the best service, and if Phil don't have it in stock, you don't need it. There you go. So get yourself ready, because once I've drawn the names, entries close 6:30 p.m. sharp every Monday night. I will compile all the names, put them in my random name picker. I draw the winner and some alternates, because you have to be tuned in to win. Now, you see my phone number along the bottom of the screen there. Excuse me. And you have 3 minutes after I call your name. Now, only text if your name is called. And you must text with your name and you are here. I don't know what your phone number is. So you use your name and you are here. So you have 3 minutes. So at 7:53, we're going to go on if you haven't texted. And the winner is CZ Kid. Metal detecting with CZ Kid. You got 3 minutes to get up with me. Text me.
Sweet.
Come on, kid.
Good luck. Get on the phone. Get that text rolling.
absolutely. And then he can decorate his towel like Gary did.
That's right.
You go to Colchester. I think Gary gets the award for most artistic decoration there. Did an awesome job on it. For
Yeah, he
sure.
did. I know he called me 3 or 4 times about going in. He was pumped and ready to go.
Yeah, I saw him do his little dance too on Facebook.
Yeah, I think I did see that.
Yeah.
Pointed
I wish I
out.
hadn't seen it, but I did see it.
Well, you know.
Just joking, Gary. Man, proud of you, man. You did a great job over there.
Well, you
Yes,
know,
he
the
did.
thing of it is, you could be going along and just having a terrible day. It takes one signal to make your trip.
Yeah.
You know, let's say you found, a long cross in just great condition. I mean, that makes your trip, man. Or
Yeah.
find a Roman silver or even a Roman bronze. You know, you may find a Roman fibula that you think is just a little piece of trash, but it's not. So,
Right.
you know, it's always there to find.
Yeah. We joked about it earlier, but Tony, what was your best find for the trip?
I was just thankful. I wasn't expecting it, but I found hammered silver. I found a 1561 Queen Elizabeth
Sixpence or no half groat, and my first hammered silver, my oldest coin. So incredible find for me. I mean, that beat my oldest coin by over 200 years. So very happy with that.
Yeah, it was an amazing coin. Some of the other stuff was cool too, man. That Danish silver thing you found was really cool. Even your copper hammered that you found, the Jetton, that was really cool. So
Yeah.
Tony found a lot of cool things. Really,
That
believe
Manicore
me.
did well. I just followed along with it.
Yeah.
Well, like you say, you can be going along and bing, you just got to get in the right spot, you know. And a lot of guys, they don't like it when they get into the iron, but that's when you need to slow down and really concentrate because that's where the activity was. So, I mean, this stuff can come up out of the ground over there at any time. It's
Anytime.
amazing.
Even right outside the van. It's amazing.
Yeah, oh, sure.
Yeah. You don't need to be in the middle of the field to find amazing things.
Ken
No,
did
you
well
sure
right
don't.
outside the van.
Yeah. Yeah, I did, Bill. I came back. I was in to kind of go off what you said. I was in kind of a bad mood because I had just walked for a mile and a half back to see if the group wanted to go for lunch. I don't know if my walkie-talkie was working, so I came back exhausted, feet hurting, and then everyone had gone back out to the dig, and we were going to stay there. And I was like, man, I would have just dropped down and ate lunch had everyone told me that we were going to stay at this location instead of walking back the mile and a half I had wandered out. And so after I calmed down, I ate lunch a little bit, and then I walked right out in the field, like 20 yards off the van, and found my first silver hammer coin. So had I not walked back and then jumped, fate, who knows? But
That's right. Well, we CZ Kid who is not watching tonight, so I'm moving on to the next name. So Bill Murphy, if you are watching, you won the prize. Text me at my number with your name, and we're here within 3 minutes.
come on,
Okay,
Bill.
and I do have a question here, and I don't quite understand this one, but it's from Johnny Hyatt. What are the rules these days at Colchester host when you don't want the fine, but the farmer wants his 50%? I knew a guy that this happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You guys understand that?
So I think he might be talking about like what happens if, make you the offer maybe, and you don't want to accept it, but the farmer does want to accept it, something
Maybe.
like that. Yeah, it has to be, man, I don't know what would happen in that situation.
Or if you don't want to find it
They make
all.
you the offer. If you don't accept it, then it's too bad for you. They can say we are taking it.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's up to the finder to kind of coordinate that. Finders keepers, right? So I think it's up to the
I don't
finder.
know if that applies over there, Ken. We were told when we were over there, if you find it and the museum, they have to offer if they want it.
Well, I'll tell you,
Yeah,
I'm involved in it because one of the items I found on my trip was reported as treasure. So I'm actually in that process right now. They copied me on the email over to the fines liaison officer. Then I got copied on the email with the description and everything where I found it to the antiquity scheme. And so that when all that comes together, and if they find out the museum wants it, I can tell you that the landowner is not copied on the emails. It's only communication with me and the organization, the flow and the antiquity scheme. And so when they come back and they send more information, it's going to be sent to me like, what do you want to do, Mr. King? Blah, 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 blah. Either they're going to want it and claim it, or they're going to disclaim it, at which point I can get it back. I can tell you that the owners of that land over there don't generally, they would be very interested in money, but they're not necessarily interested in the history and the items you find. Tony had a direct experience with that. You want to tell that quick story if we have time?
Just before he gets into that, we'll tell him we do have our winner. He is here. He texted. So now what he has to do is send his name, address, and phone number to treasuretalkshow@gmail.com, and we will get your prize out to you.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, just a quick story with landowners. I had a really great conversation with one of the landowners, and they don't look at it like we do. That is their land that they use to grow crops, to raise sheep, to whatever their livelihood is. They just happen to be in a fantastic spot in terms of history. So I went over and I was speaking with one of the landowners and just thanked them immensely, because that's actually on their land is where I found my hammered silver. And I was ecstatic over it and just thanked them. And I coveted this thing. I thanked them for allowing us on their property. And his answer was, oh, that's great. I'm glad you guys found it, because we would have never found anything like that. So their mindset is completely different in terms of the historical value. Like Ken said, I think they would love to have, if the museum wants to buy it, they would be interested in the money side of it, but not necessarily the history side.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
The landowner probably doesn't value it like we do.
Right.
No, and honestly, they probably don't, because if they did or were interested in it, they probably wouldn't be giving these permissions out to these large groups coming on their land, and they'd be the ones out there trying to find all of this history.
Yeah.
So they see a value in recovering it. They're thankful that we can get out and enjoy our hobby and our interests, but I don't think they value the item itself as much as we do, or look at it in the same light.
Well, in that country, that's just been the way of life. The history, it doesn't mean the same to them as it does to us, because we just don't have that kind of history over here. So just the farmer, well, he's just trying to survive.
Yeah.
Like a lot of farmers do.
He was very nonchalant about it. Just,
hey, I'm glad you had a great time. I'm glad you found it, because he said we never would have been looking and found it. So he's happy that we enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. He's busy earning his living and working in the dirt farming. So it's cool that you pulled the history out and saved it.
It's cool that he got to witness a lamb being born too. That was a pretty cool piece. Same landowner.
Same landowner,
had a lamb farm or a sheep farm.
And, he could have told me some chicken stories, Ken?
Well, that's actually why I went over there, was because I was interested in starting to raise sheep on my land here, and so I started up the conversation about the lamb, that they had there, and he was talking about. See that one over there? That one's pregnant. This one's pregnant over here. But this one here, she's been in labor since this morning. And so he actually kind of moved it over to real close to where the fence was. And I just had my camera out, and he looks up and says, "Ready?" And I started recording, and all of a sudden he just pulls out a lamb, make sure that it's alive. And within 30 seconds, we had a lamb out. The ewe is licking it, cleaning it off, and then he looks up at me and he goes, "And that's how life is born."
That's true.
Holy cow!
Pretty cool.
It was an amazing experience. Unbelievable land that we were so lucky to be on that incredible piece of property right there. Very, very, very old piece of history there. So it was an amazing experience.
We got a question here for you, Philip, before we have to say goodnight.
Yeah, it looks like it's our hour is going by super fast, but Martin Bishop's asking me, have I been getting many Manicores in or any? They've been coming one at a time. So they are coming in. So Martin, if you're wanting one, holler at me tomorrow and I'll make sure you're on my list for sure.
Yeah, and Adele said thank you, Philip.
Yeah, she got one. Adele did get one for sure.
He said it's pouring rain, but she can't use it.
Well, guys, I want to thank you for coming on here with us, Ken and Tony and Jeff. I want to thank you for doing this, and also Jocelyn for handing me the questions. But it looks like our hour has flown by.
Yeah, that happens, right?
It
It
does.
flies by when you're having fun.
Yes, it does. It goes fast when you're talking treasure.
So that was very interesting, guys. Thank you so much. It kind of brought back my trip for me. Some of the same things. I'm sure we hunted in some of the same areas.
Yeah.
Around Colchester. So, it's a fascinating time over there. And it's, every swing you make, every signal you get, you go, man, this could be it. This could be the one. So it's good. I'm sure you'll probably go back. I'm sure you're plotting your next trip.
Yeah, I would highly recommend for anybody that's on the fence about it, just pull the trigger, because it will be something you will never ever forget, and just an experience that was incredible. And if you have an opportunity to go with a friend, kind of like this guy over here, to me, we had an absolutely great time together and met a whole bunch of people that we really have grown closer to because of that experience. It was amazing.
Cost wise, you can do it for right around $3,000 all in. So, keep that in mind, that's about what's going to cost you for everything, spending money, flight, all the stuff, about $3,000. So keep that in mind.
It's worth it.
Yep.
It's
Definitely
worth
worth
it.
it. Thanks for having us on, guys. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Guys, we appreciate you, and we'll have you on again soon. So everybody, we thank you for watching us tonight. Phil, thank you. Thank Jocelyn. And the news you got from Colorado, Phil, is pretty good news.
Yeah.
It was. Absolutely. So I have to
reach out to us. We'll get it set up for you.
Yeah, make some plans to go out there for sure. All right, guys.
That's right. So everybody, thanks for watching. Happy hunting, everybody, and dig deeper.